For many years now, Renaultsport has been the master craftsman of the hot hatch trade, and this is their current flagship, the Megane 250 Cup. This particular one is the long-term car we've been running on the magazine. We've had it for 6 months and we love it, but it takes a lot of its character, a lot of its personality from this car. The R26R was the final example of the last generation Megane. No holds barred, stripped out, lightweight, with no luxuries. It's all about thrills. So we brought the pair of them together for a unique head-to-head. And we're not using a flat-out, easy-to-drive racing track. We're using the twisty, greasy and cold Kerber sprint track because it represents the closest we can find to an English back road. The final run-out model of the last generation of Renaultsport Megane, the R26R, is all about performance. This is a no-holds-barred hot hatch. Everything that's to do with luxury is gone, everything that's left is about generating performance. And that's done through lightweight. So it's got a carbon fibre bonnet, it's got plastic side windows and a plastic rear window. Inside there's no rear seats, you get an optional roll cage, racing driver style seat belts and racing seats. It's also got a limited slip differential and it's probably the ultimate example of Renaultsport Megane. So how does the latest Megane compare to its lightweight predecessor? Well, for starters, our car's got the Cup chassis, so you get stiffer dampers, stiffer suspension and a limited slip differential. You still get a 2-litre turbocharged engine under the bonnet, and this one's got an extra 17 horsepower and a big increase in torque, 30 newton meters more torque. But crucially, it's 157 kilograms heavier. So which one will have the advantage around the twisty Kerber track? Let's find out. Okay, so we're going to start with the R26R. And the second you get into this car, it feels really quite a special car. They only sold 159 in the UK in the end, so it's a future classic really, not very many around. You feel quite special because you've got these really great sab-belts, proper racing seats, proper racing harness, you're properly tied into the car, great driving position. So immediately you feel like you're driving something special. Now we're going to do 3 laps around the tight little Kerber course in each car, and we're going to include a standing start. So we'll get an idea of 0 to 60s as well, but it's only 3 degrees, the track's really slippy. So it's a tough challenge for a front wheel drive car, this course, because we're nearly all in second gear, so you're having to manage wheel spin and that sort of thing, so it's pretty tricky. So here we go, try and get a smooth-ish start, try and limit the wheel spin off the line, and then we're going to almost immediately come into the first of the corners, which is a nice fast left-hander, and then now we're into the really tight twisty bit. And the thing you notice about the R26R straight away is just how communicative all the controls are. You can feel the lightness in the car. It changes direction so quickly, there's loads of feel through the steering, and you can just tell that this car's had lots of weight shed from it. You can see there how quickly the rear end brakes away because it's so agile with the stability control turned off. If you slightly trail brake into the corner, the rear end will step into oversteer. So it's definitely a car that rewards a bit of skillful driving, but it's the fact that you get that sort of sensation in it that makes it so good. This particular car is owned by the Drivers Club, which are a high-end performance driving school, and they use this car as their sort of first introduction to performance driving. And the fact that it's got such sharp, edgy responses is great because as a driver, that's really what you want. You can feel now, I can feel understeer towards the apex as I dial the throttle in. I can feel that understeer going away, and you can just feel how the car reacts to every single one of your responses. And that's the thing that is truly great about this car. I remember the first time I drove it, it's just a real shock. Compared to any other road legal hot hatch, this just feels like a stripped out racer. You get more noise as well because you've got a Perspex rear screen. You can hear the exhaust and the induction noise much more, and it's a great car. This particular one isn't on the Michelin cut slicks that the cars came standard with. This one's on an Avon track-based tyre, but a little bit more tread on that one, which is probably a good thing given how slippery the track is today, and the fact its surface is wet and it's only 3 degrees. So we're going to go around for the 3rd time now. It turns in so sharply, you can feel it trying to lift the wheel. The chassis is very stiff, and you have to be a bit careful here as you brake, so you trail brake, and again it's making the rear end of the car slide. And by doing that, you can, on the way into the corner, unsettle the rear of the car, trying to manage wheel spin there, so you can unsettle the rear of the car on the way into the corner, and then that helps you balance out the understeer through the apex, and then again on the exit just trying to manage wheel spin. So now we're going to come across the finish line, and that's my first lap in that car today, so we haven't done loads of practice laps, it's just jumping straight in. So now it's time to see if the latest Cup car can live with its lightweight predecessor. Okay, so now we're going to get into the 250 Cup. Now straight away when you get into this car, it feels obviously much more of a rounded car in terms of its cabin quality, much more modern than the R26, but you still get a great decent driving position. You've got these optional Recaro seats in our car, so they're not quite as figure hugging as the racing seats in the R26, but they give you a similar sort of feel. You feel nicely pinned into the car. Now we're going to do these laps with the traction control system and the stability control turned off, and we've got the Renaultsport monitor in our car, so you can go in and change the throttle position. So we put the throttle into its sportiest setting, so basically the car is at its most extreme. So let's see how we get on. So similar amounts of traction off the line, probably made fractionally a better start in this one than I did in the R26. Into the first left-hander, you can carry similar amounts of speed in there. You can see the rear end braking away straight away. Straight away you can feel that extra torque. I'm higher in the revs and a bit faster top speed as I come into this first twisty section. The grip levels are actually amazing in this car. Braking hard here, trail braking again, same as did in the other car. Just getting it into the apex, a little bit of understeer, then just trying to get the power down. Now it's got a limited slip differential when you get the cup chassis in this car. So, and in fact, if I was honest, I think traction's probably a fraction better in this than it is in the R26. One thing to bear in mind is though, this car's got the standard Michelin pilot tyres, which are quite a soft compound. So although they wear out quite quickly, they are pretty good at generating heat and getting grip in these cold conditions, whereas at the R26 we had has got some harder compound Avon rubber, which is good for sustained use on a track when temperatures are higher, but probably doesn't give quite as much grip in these cold, wet conditions. So I'd say this car's got the advantage in terms of what rubber it's wearing. And it's really what I love about this car, is that you can live with it every day, and yet it does feel very much like its lightweight predecessor. It's got that same ability to turn in, the same sort of feel and sharpness into steering. And then also you can feel the extra weight, there's a bit more inertia, it doesn't feel quite as lightweight and stripped out, but there's not a lot in it actually. Both give you the same sort of sensations. And as I say, I think traction's probably slightly better in this one than it is in the R26R. Coming out for our third and final lap. And again, both cars have got Brembo brakes, so there's really not much difference in braking. Obviously this car's heavier, so there's more mass to slow down if you like as you come towards the corner. But having said that, the flip side is you can definitely feel that extra power. And there's actually, I would say, a fraction higher levels of grip as well in these slippery conditions. Just trail braking in and trying to get on the power. We're going to accelerate across the line now. Now, this is again where the extra performance, extra power comes in. It's got 157 kilograms more mass to drive forward, but it definitely doesn't feel anyway it's short of power, this car. So what's the final verdict? Well, I'm shocked because the current car was just over 3 seconds faster than the R26R. But there's a caveat to that, because today the conditions are really cold, greasy, and the standard car's road tyres are better suited to that sort of track condition. Plus, around this course, it's nearly all in second gear, so it really plays to the torque advantage that the modern car's got. If we'd have gone to a flat-out, very fast racing circuit where you're carrying lots of speed through fast corners, having lots of heavy braking, I think the R26R would still be the quicker car. But just imagine how good this car could be if Renault puts it on the same diet they put this one on.